Ba ba, ba ba. Here he is, it's the sheepdog, Roman Reigns, because every single one of you that flocked into that arena, they knew exactly what you were going to do, and you've played right into their hand. Look at Roman there, he is absolutely loving it. You thought you had one over on him because you kept booing when he put the mic to his mouth, but he was playing you. And you all bought it, whilst thinking you were being unique and rebellious. If you want to actually get your message across and you don't genuinely like Roman Reigns, I've been saying this about Cena for years, booing him isn't going to work. Just stand silently, turn your back on him. If you don't pay them attention, that will actually bother them. Booing them isn't going to bother them. And like I said, Roman had loads of fun with this. He waited for the crowd to finally stop and just said, "This is my yard now," and buggered off. Great stuff. The announce team, they really try to get the fact over that these are non-traditional fans and trying to defend the boos that Roman got. Make your mind up, lads, you've just shown all the crowd booing him and with big Roman Reigns suck signs. And you allowed him to stand out there for 15 minutes while he just got abuse. Oh, well, the crowd thought they were abusing him, but still. If you don't know what you're doing with him, how are the crowd or anybody meant to know what's going on? And another thing, it was alright in the 90s when you needed our custom, but now you're making money regardless. You can't just slag us off. Stupid idiots. So now that the crowd are tired out from booing, we're going to give them something they actually want now. We've got a rematch between the Hardys and Gallows and Anderson for the Tag Team Championships. But that's not before we dismiss the rest of the year and just count down 360-something days until WrestleMania 34. Good one, lads. And when we return from that noise, the Hardy Boys are successful in retaining their Tag Team Championships, which I'm quite glad about because I just assumed they were going to drop them the next day. Later on in the show, we get to hear from the new Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, and then Seth Rollins teams up with Chris Jericho to face Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. Before I mention the crowd during the Neville and Mustafa Ali match, I just want to address something that the announce team keep going on about with Mustafa Ali. He keeps saying that he's breaking boundaries, obviously because of his ethnicity, and showing people that he can be a nice person, he can get the job done, and he can be a good wrestler. To which I say this, WWE, you are the ones that keep building boundaries around these people. Saying that they're from Sandytown McSanderson in the Middle East, calling them Punjabi Muslim, and dressing them like fucking suicide bombers. What do you expect people to react like? I think you found the pastiest looking Middle Eastern guy ever, build him from America, but you don't normally build the other people from America or Canada. Again, idiots. Now, the crowd. I agree with Neville. Neville went absolutely ballistic in the match. He was not happy at the crowd's behaviour. We saw a springboard bloody Spanish fly for frig's sake, and the crowd are playing with a beach ball. Why don't you all just bring your colouring books, you morons? I'm convinced that the majority of the crowd wouldn't know a decent wrestling match if I force-fed them every single WWE VHS DVD they've ever made, because they don't seem interested in wrestling at all. Christ. I mean, look at that mongoloid on the front row dressed up as Hulk Hogan with his gormless look for the entire show. Who let that bell end in? Talk about tourists, I mean, oh yeah, what's the best thing for me to wear to fit in at a wrestling show? I know what I'll do. I'll dress up like a big, bright, colourful racist twat. You may as well have just blacked yourself up and gone as Booker T, you wanker. And regarding the match, after the crowd didn't pay Neville any attention for about 10-15 minutes of the duration, they all got on the feet when he climbed on the top about to do the red arrow, so he dropped down and just got a tap-out victory instead thanks to the Rings of Saturn. Nice one, Neville. Good lad. If it wasn't for the fact that you're trying to draw a little bit of attention towards Mustafa Ali, I would have suggested taking that Spanish fly out of the match as well, just because that crowd didn't deserve it. We then go backstage to see a limousine arriving, and oh joy, it's Vince McMahon, which the crowd pop at. Oh, this is going to be really pathetic once he comes down to the ring, isn't it? I can feel my blood boiling and my blood pressure rising already. Well, Vince McMahon's music's barely started, and I'm already rolling my eyes and face palming. The crowd who 20-30 minutes ago were just relentlessly shouting shit at Roman Reigns because he's apparently the problem with wrestling today. As soon as Vince McMahon, the person that's actually in charge of this sort of thing, arrives, what do? They cheer for him, they sing his theme song, and they bow down to him. They actually bow to him. They try and give him a little bit of grief, but well done, Vince. Well, you can't really take anything away from him. He's just doing the usual salesman thing. They start to give him crap and say how much they don't like Roman. He gives them one line, one sweet talking line, and says thank you, and they just bend over and grab their ankles. You absolute set of idiots. You think you're there protesting, you think your voices are being heard, and you actually think you're standing up to authority by booing for Roman and then sucking Vince McMahon's cock. Congratulations, you bandwagon hopping, glory supporting sheep. Oh yeah, Vince says there's going to be some form of draft next week, but he tries to make it sound really cool and clever by giving it some alliterated name like Superstar Shake-Up, something like that. Oh, there was actually a reason that Vince turned up in the end. It took him about 30 minutes to get there. Kurt Angle's the new general manager of Raw. Happy days. This week, Rob Reiner dresses up as Sasha Banks and guilts us about smoking. Piss off. And then, oh dear, I don't see this ending well, bringing the New Day out in front of this crowd. Although saying that, the New Day managed to distract the crowd from any obvious chants regarding sex with pasty girls and issue an open challenge, to which the Revival answer, and the crowd go absolutely mental. That's more than enough to distract them from the obvious. We get a great showing from the two-time NXT champions who defeat the New Day, and then try Ninja Kofi afterwards, because, you know, the crowd are cheering for them, and we want people at home to know that they're the heels, so they have to do things like that just to get the message across. I don't mean to be a knobhead, but I'm pretty sure they're them coins you get at Christmas with the foil and the chocolate inside. But if that's what they're going to choose to use as props, then who am I to say? And speaking of cheap-looking things that I only manage to enjoy once a year, Enzo and Kaz turn up in Kurt Angle's office. They assume that Kurt's never watched the product before and go through their usual shtick, which Kurt's quite funny in his responses, as you'd expect. I actually believe that this is an indicator that Kurt's going to do fine on a Monday wrestling show, you know, seeing as he can manage to turn something crap like Enzo and Kaz into something amusing. And the reason Enzo and Kaz were in Kurt Angle's office is, you know, they were pissing and moaning that they didn't win the tag championships, which I don't think faces were meant to do that. So they grumble, Kurt gives them an opportunity, and they're going to face Cesaro later on tonight, meaning that the winners will go on to face the tag team champions. Yeah, now we move on to the Divas division, and I have a question. Who the hell's Bayley pissed off? Last night she came out first, and tonight she came out first, and we're cutting to the break. Brilliant. We'll just leave the champion stood in the ring twiddling her thumbs. Monsters. Absolute idiotic monsters. So when we come back from the ads, Dana Brooke's already on her way down, so, you know, we've obviously just forgotten about Bayley really quickly. And then, Emma's here. Why the fuck have you done this? Why have you brought her out first for the heels? Why not leave her till last, you know, seeing as she's returning? Build up a bit of suspense to be like, oh, hang on, it's a 6-women tag, and there's only 5 women on the roster. What on earth's going on? And then have this big reveal of Emma appearing. But no, you're going to wrap Charlotte up, you're going to shine her up real nice and ram her down everyone's throat. Well, when she turns round and pisses off somewhere else because, you know, you're not giving her everything she wants on a silver platter, cough, Randy Orton, cough. Well, actually, look at her old man. Look how loyal he's been. He just goes wherever there's money. So, yeah, I expect the same from Charlotte too. Good luck with that, WWE. Just keep pissing on your current roster. Emma manages to leave more talent on Zack Ryder's tip end than Charlotte has in her entire body, but, you know, we'll just keep pushing their big name. And I don't know why I'm surprised considering you've milked that surname for decades now already anyway. And we move on to Nia. No. Stop it. No. Stop it now. You've got a menacing look. Stop smiling. Let me see your rapist face. No, not that one. There we go. Nia the bitch-fisted Jax. That is who you are. Now get down to the ring. And last and certainly least in my mind is just a turd that will not be flushed. It's Charlotte. I don't have any of my own material flair. Now I've already annoyed myself by talking about this match for way too long, so I'll just cut it really brief from here on in. Emma was a joy to watch. The rest of the lasses were alright. Charlotte, no. Can we not just send her back to the wax museum she came from? Thanks. What a surprise, it's Sasha and Charlotte involved in the actual finish of the match. So, actually I've just noticed a nice little pattern here. What's wrong with Bayley and Emma? Someone a bit jealous that they're quite good at their job. So what do you have to do? Do you have to give them special needs? Pretend that they're not all there so you look better? Make you feel better about yourself, yeah? Little insecure girl? Ah. But you did such a good job telling everybody you'd started a revolution. Yeah, that goes for you as well, Sasha. At least Charlotte got her ass handed to her by Nia after the match, whilst, you know, selling really horribly as usual. Kurt Angle's in his office backstage, Sami Zayn's there with him, and it's just a really long, drawn-out conversation. That is until Jinder Mahal appears. Kurt puts them in a match together, we all saw this coming, let's crack on. Somebody really needs to release Candy Crush from Vince McMahon's basement because its nipples are going to be sore as hell now. They've been milking it for months, Jesus. Oh, Vince wins again. My willy's not that big. I wish I didn't have to rub it in all of our faces, though. Ah. Right, I'm confused with this whole Brock Lesnar-Goldberg thing. He's got Heyman on his side, so, you know, he can do the maths. But when you look at Goldberg having 2 victories, and Lesnar having 1 victory, that's not even close to being even. That's a whole 1 victory difference. So why do they keep saying that the blemish has been removed? Yeah, he's got that belt for now, but 10 years' time you'll look back and he won't have the belt. He'll just have a 2-1 loss record against Goldberg. I'm pretty sure people are paid to think about this simple stuff. After Brock and Paul gloat about beating Goldberg last night, and also about the fact we're probably not going to see that belt for a while, you know, with Brock Lesnar's working schedule, Heyman wonders who's going to challenge Lesnar next. They list a few top guys, and the crowd seem behind every idea, but then Heyman goes on to Roman Reigns, which the crowd don't want. They want Finn Balor, obviously. But then, it's Strowman's turn to come out. Strowman challenges Brock, he gets in his face, but Brock accepts, and then Strowman backs down, which, that whole segment just went nowhere really, really slowly. What was the point? We now go backstage with Charles the Dwarf and Chris Jericho, and Jericho, don't, Jericho stupidly mentioned Beach Ball Mania, justifying the idiots in the crowd. Or at least that's how they're going to interpret it anyway. It's already well over, it doesn't need to pander in that manner. And since it saved Kevin Owens from defeat last night, Jericho puts Owens' finger on the list. Just the tip. And Kevin Owens appears from nowhere and jumps him. Samoa Joe joins too, and then they put Jericho through a table. After the commercial break, Kurt Angle leaves the trainer's room and Seth Rollins appears and asks how Jericho's doing. Kurt says Jericho can't compete, but he'll find him a partner by the end of the night. Thankfully, Cesaro are victorious against Endo and Kaz, meaning that they're the new #1 contenders for the Tag Team Championships. And the crowd were absolutely mental during this match, but, you know, thankfully at least it was something relevant that's actually in the ring, singing and dancing for Cesaro. Quite a fun little chant actually that Cesaro both liked and got well into, so I'm hoping we can keep that up, but I reckon the crowd won't remember next week. WWE will incorporate it into their gimmick somehow, and then it'll just get really stale really quickly. Let's just deal with the next 12 months first, yeah? Before we worry about WrestleMania next year. Because if you keep looking too far ahead, you forget what's coming up tomorrow, and yeah, you just end up making shit up on the spot, like the WWE have actually had a habit of doing, and not with the best results. We then go through a load of tweets regarding The Undertaker and his retirement, and then Jinder Mahal and his Veins take on Sami Zayn, which doesn't last long. Zayn hits a Helluva Kick for the win. Cheers for coming, Jinder. At least the WWE are making great use of all that gym time you have. We look forward to next week already with the draft/Superstar Shake-Up. And then on 205 Live tomorrow night, we've got a #1 contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship. And following Raw this evening, we've got Raw Talk with the Hardy Boys and more. Bloody hell, this week we've actually got a match for the main event. Well done, I'm impressed. Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe face Seth Rollins and his mystery partner, which is... yeah, you've guessed it. The crowd guessed it. Everybody guessed it. It's a returning Finn Balor. It's a little confusing that he's teaming with Rollins, the guy that injured him, but hey-ho, that's wrestling. For the majority of the match, the heels sat on the one-legged Seth Rollins, and Finn hit Kevin Owens with a coup de grace for the win. After the match, Seth and Finn have a little stare down, but Rollins is just waiting for the music to kick in so he can raise Finn's hand in time with it. The dirty, dirty mark. So yeah, all in all, it wasn't a bad episode of Raw, well, stuff in the ring-wise anyway. Roman cut his best promo in years, and we've had a few new people added to the mix. It was just, like I say, the crowd that absolutely ruined it. I just wish that people would just sit down, shut up and watch for once. But then the WWE didn't really make it any better by just giving their pathetic excuses and trying to warn everybody about the non-traditional crowd. Hey, here's a tip. Why don't you stop putting so much emphasis on trying to get more casual viewers in, and then you won't have this problem. If they are non-traditional fans causing problems, you invited them in here, you bellends. Learn your business and stop making excuses. Also, stop letting pricks like this in. I'm pretty sure Vinnie Mac wants Hogan back on TV so he can sell all that lovely red and yellow merch to all the idiots in the crowd, meaning that racist piece of shit Mania will be running wild once again. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to comment on the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania, obviously, the entire backlog of my RAW RANT, going all the way back to my written work, /walls of text, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff on the site to keep you busy. And last but not least, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com, and their digital store links can be found in my description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.